Hello. So, let's do another reading today. I was meditating and asking for a general energy so I can understand better what we need to talk about today. And it seems that um, after a period of being in your recent past, probably first card is the Hermit. I did the spread a little different. It's five cards on the top. The first one is your past. The second one is the present. The third one is the challenges that you're finding. The fourth one is advice from spirit. And the fifth one is the outcome. And each one of those cards has a clarifier below it. So the first card, which is your past, your recent past, is the Hermit. And the Hermit signifies, in a way, a period in which you've been reflecting, meditating, going inside. You've done this for a while and looking for guidance. I think you're looking for guidance or a path inside of you, or advice from your own soul, or trying to make contact with your own soul. And the clarifier is the Ace of Cups, which is a card that signifies that you are finding something within yourself that's filling you up. I think it's interesting how the light that the Hermit has in his hand in some way reflects that cup. So I think that the process that you've been going through in meditation and looking inside and trying to find inside yourself answers and trying to connect to spirit, which is what I think really is happening, has been successful to a certain point. But now this is where it gets interesting. In the present, you have the Three of Coins, which means, in a way, action, means work, and it means working together, working with other people. And I think that what you're trying to do is understand, how can you work with spirit? How can you work with this new energy that you've been finding inside you as you were meditating? And to clarify it, it's the Ace of Wands, and you can see the fire that spirit brings to you. It brings a spirit of activity and creativity and passion, and it could be even passion in relationships, re-inkling or feeling again the desire to be in a relationship. But I think this has to do more about your general work and the relationships in general that you have in your life, because part of the transition that this inner light is giving you, it's changing the way you view interactions with other people, and this will become more clear as we speak. Okay, so after that period where you found that new connection with your inner self and that fountain of love and energy and spirit, that it's been igniting your soul and giving you a new sense of identity. Now you are trying to use that and apply it in the world, because you have that fire inside you where you want to create something new, to make something new in your life, to bring that fire from the soul into this plane. Okay, and that means obviously practicing with other people, because that's where we practice, that's where we are able to do this work. So the challenge is initially the Judgment card, and Judgment cards means basically resurrection. The Judgment card means that in order to express that new self, there's a part of you that needs to die so you can be resurrected into a new form. So this is the challenge. The challenge is, how do I let go of a part of me that's not serving me anymore, that's not really helping me bring into this world all this wisdom and knowledge and experience that I've just had through this period of going inside and being kind of like a hermit. You were away from society, trying to avoid interaction and so much social interaction. You were really in a path to look inside. So the challenge is okay, I'm hearing this call, but how do I become a new person? How I leave behind the part of me that's supposed to be dead? And this is clarified by the Fool, which is a card that tells me also there's a new beginning, there's new things that you want to do, and in a way you feel like you are taking a leap of faith. So I think that's the challenge. The challenge is that you have to take a leap of faith. See the Fool jumping on the back and with his dog, which means intuition, helping him along. And he has, if you see, he has the staff that we saw before in the present position. He has it in his hand. Now, your challenge is to take that creativity and move forward and start doing what you need to do and become that new person. So the obstacle, it's the devil. And what does that mean? The advice this is the advice from Spirit. It's the devil. It's you need to realize the patterns, behaviors, addictions, the way the ego maintains you bound to the present person you are or you have been. This is related to all the things we tell ourselves to limit our expression of our true self, of our light, of our truth. This means our addictions, the things we use to buffer, to not deal with the negative things that we have in our lives that are really intolerable. And these things are as easy as over drinking, over eating, spending a lot of time in social media, spending a lot of time on the internet, everything that will make your life not as organized, structured, or is an obstacle for you to delve into your creativity and deal with the things that you were supposed to do. Like, for example, if you have a lot of disorganization in your environment, if things are not in place, you're buffering. And this is because your brain needs order. People don't understand the importance of order, the importance of making your bed every morning. That brings structure and order into your day. The importance of having a process every morning, like meditating every morning before you go to work. The process of putting things in their place. The process of throwing away the things that you don't need, because what's going on outside of you is going on inside. And those are ways that we buffer by keeping everything disorganized and keeping, overeating, over drinking, going out all the time, screen time, not to deal with how intolerable our lives are, because we are not living our truth. We're not dealing with our passion. We're not living from the soul. We're buying the story that society is giving us, the lies that they have told about who we are and ourselves, including from when you were a kid. You were hearing the stories from your parents and society, and you've bought all of them. And this keeps us bound. So advice from Spirit is identify those things that are limiting you, where ego is working, where those stories and those lies you have believed are in action, where your addictions are, because that's the advice. You need to deal with that. And then to clarify that, two very interesting cards came up. The first one is the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords is precisely our need to win for the sake of winning. It's about power struggles. When we need to win and we need to be right without even considering the cost of being right. It's pure ego. And the card that came out to clarify it, because I asked clarification, is precisely one of the major arcana that deals with our ability to domesticate our ego. See how that woman is on top of the lion? That's the card of strength and signifies when you are able to domesticate your ego and let your higher self be the one that's driving and not the animal nature, which is precisely the devil. If you see, it's interesting how they have the same color, the lion and the devil, because once you are able to do this, it then becomes an instrument. This image of a deity mounting an animal is recurrent in all religions. For example, when Jesus came into the city, I think it was Jerusalem, on top of an ass. That's one of the when that signifies where his higher self had domesticated his ego. Same thing with Kuan Yin. You see Kuan Yin sitting on top of a dragon. You see deities on tops of elephants. It's recurrent. So this has a lot to do about letting go of power struggles in your life, and those power struggles can be with yourself. They can be with the way you talk to yourself and the way you deal with yourself, and instead going to a higher level of relationship with yourself, which comes from compassion and love. We are very hard on ourselves, and then we are very hard on other people. People change not because we are bothering them, but because we love them and we trust them to do the changes they need to do, and we support them. Obviously, you need to have boundaries, but you understand what I mean. So the last card, which is outcome, it's promising you a new world. It's saying once you do that, it's like a portal. You see both staffs, which are like probably the staffs that we saw before. We have two before. The one from what is it that you have now, that's creative energy, and then the Fool, which is the ability to go forward and have a leap of faith, will put you through that portal. See them two? You go through that, and then you have a whole new world to explore. It's a whole new world out there waiting for you that you can create. It's endless possibility. Okay. And then the card that clarifies that card is precisely the Six of Cups, which is an amazing card that has to do with having balance in your relationships, having reciprocity in your relationships. And then again, see the child becoming like a child again, because you have to be like a child to enter the kingdom of heaven. And that doesn't mean innocence only. It means innocence in a way, but it's innocence with wisdom. Innocence with knowing that everything is possible and everything you can dream of can happen. And if you look at her, I don't even know where she's hanging from, because there's no trees or anything. I don't know where she's hanging. It seems like she's hanging from the rainbows. Okay, so that resurrection that Judgment is calling for is for your inner child, getting in touch with it and understanding that it's like going back to Eden, where everything is possible. So I asked for general energies in this reading before we started, and it's interesting how they came forth. And the first one was fairy energy. It is growth, expansion, and flowering, which is, remember what I said about you have to look inside of you for that inner light, and that inner light is not being projected. Like this would be like the higher self projecting it into the flower, which is what would be in this level. So you are now aware of that energy inside you, and it's like trying to come to you so you can be manifested in the world. So there's a growth and expansion coming here. And then after that came out the Green Man, which is rising energy, fertility. So it's that energy that's gonna make your life grow and make your life become fertile and abundance to come into your life. Okay. There's also, these were very interesting, visions of life beyond death, because I think all that you've been doing, and if you are able to transcend and follow the advice and cut off your addictions and have that resurrection and leap of faith in the world to view and feel and live in a different way, this is like having a quantum leap in consciousness, where you're going to start seeing that things are not linear, that there's not really that precise line of cause and effect as you thought, that there's karma, that there's energy, that there's cycles, that there's divine intervention, that you can put into situations your energy in such a way that it's going to change the outcome completely for you, just because you can come from a place of that inner light, that inner being, instead of your doubts and your fears, which would be what the devil represents, and those stories that you've been told. And then you will see that the world is not what they have taught us it is. There's so much more to it. And then another one I asked for was the secret of came out, the secret of secrets, which is precisely what this other one is talking about. The secret. This is from the Bhagavad Gita, and it says, "This knowledge is the king of education, the rarest of all secrets and the purest knowledge, because it gives direct perception of the self by realization." Because what you'll see yourself by what you're able to do in the world. It is the perfection. It is eternal and joyfully performed. Okay? And last but not least, express gratitude. Be thankful for the wonderful gift of being able to serve humanity, your planet, and your God. Be grateful for the opportunity to live your life purposefully, in tune with the will of the source of all. That's a lot to be grateful for. So be grateful for this connection, because you're serving, when you're connected to this source, you're serving humanity. With every person you touch and everything you do, you're going to bring forth that energy from that quantum level into this level that is so much needed at this point. People who are workers of light, consciously or unconsciously, we are bringing light into the world at this point, because the world is changing very rapidly. This year has been very tumultuous. It's going to continue to be tumultuous because the world is changing drastically. And we need to anchor that light and that energy into this world to help with this change, of course, we're trying to have as a humanity, and to help the planet, because the planet is changing too. It's inevitable. So, my love, have a beautiful February. I'll see you.